You know, there's this idea that floats around like a whisper in the back of your mind that God is watching everything. It's comforting, isn't it? The thought that there's someone or something keeping an eye on us, making sure we're not completely lost in the chaos of our lives. But let's be honest for a moment. It's a double-edged sword. On one hand, it's a warm blanket on a cold night, a reminder that we're not alone. On the other, it's a looming shadow, a constant reminder that every little thing we do is being observed, scrutinized, judged. And that can be terrifying. I mean, think about it. Every time you slip up, every time you make a mistake, there's that nagging voice in your head saying, God is watching. It's like having a parent who never leaves the room, always peering over your shoulder, waiting for you to mess up so they can swoop in with their disappointment. But what if we flipped that narrative? What if we took a step back and realized that maybe, just maybe, God isn't watching to catch us in our failures, but to witness our triumphs, our struggles, our little victories? What if God is watching everything, not with a critical eye, but with a heart full of love and understanding? Imagine that for a second. Picture a divine presence, not as a judge, but as a cheerleader, standing on the sidelines of our lives, rooting for us as we stumble through our days. Don't worry, it would say. I see you trying. I see you fighting. I see you getting back up after every fall. It's a radical shift in perspective, isn't it? Instead of feeling like we're under a microscope, we could feel like we're part of a grand tapestry, each thread woven together with purpose and intention. Every choice we make, every path we take, is part of a larger design, a story that's still being written. And sure, life is messy. It's filled with moments that make us question everything we thought we knew. We lose jobs, we lose loved ones, we face heartbreak and betrayal. It's easy to feel abandoned in those moments, to think that maybe God has turned away, that we're left to fend for ourselves in a world that can feel so cold and indifferent. But what if those moments of pain are not signs of abandonment, but rather invitations to grow, to learn, to deepen our understanding of ourselves and the world around us? What if God is watching not to punish us, but to guide us through the storm? Think about the times you felt utterly alone, the nights when the weight of the world felt too heavy to bear, when you cried out for help and heard nothing but silence in return. It's in those moments that we often feel the most disconnected, the most lost. But what if that silence is not a sign of absence, but a space for us to find our own voice? What if God is watching, waiting patiently for us to discover our strength, our resilience? It's a powerful thought, isn't it? That in our darkest hours, we are not abandoned, but rather being invited to rise, to reclaim our power. And let's not forget about the beauty of connection. We often think of our relationship with the divine as a solitary journey, but what if it's more communal than we realize? What if God is watching us, not just as individuals, but as a collective? Every act of kindness, every moment of compassion, every time we reach out to help someone else, we're not just making a difference in their lives. We're participating in something much larger than ourselves. We're part of a divine dance, a cosmic interplay of love and light that transcends our individual struggles. So when you find yourself feeling overwhelmed, when the weight of the world feels too heavy to carry, remember this: God is watching everything, and that's not something to fear. It's something to embrace. It's a reminder that we're part of a larger story, one that's filled with hope, redemption, and the promise of new beginnings. It's an invitation to lean into our faith, to trust that we are not alone, even when it feels like we are. And let's be real for a moment. We're all human. We're all flawed. We make mistakes. We hurt others. We hurt ourselves. But in those moments of weakness, when we feel like we've fallen short, we can choose to see ourselves through the eyes of love. We can choose to believe that God sees our struggles and our efforts, that every tear we shed is not in vain, that every moment of doubt is an opportunity for growth. So don't worry. Don't let the fear of being watched paralyze you. Instead, let it inspire you. Let it remind you that you are part of something beautiful, something divine. You are loved, you are seen, and you are worthy of all the grace this world has to offer. Embrace the messiness of life, the uncertainty, the joy, and the pain. It's all part of the journey, and God is right there with you, watching, not with judgment, but with an open heart, ready to catch you when you fall and celebrate with you when you rise. In the end, it's not about perfection. It's about progress. It's about showing up day after day and doing the best you can with what you have. So take a deep breath, let go of the worry, and remember, God is watching everything, and that's a beautiful thing.